and then not be prepared to make it? Or would you rather have some trials and troubles along the way so that you would have learned so that you can make it? So what does God do while we're enduring the pain, while we're in the midst of our storm? Maybe that's the question we need to ask. We know that we're going through the storm, so what's God doing? You enjoying this? No, that's not what he's doing. No, that's not what he's doing. He's doing the same thing he did while the disciples were in the storm. Mark, along with Matthew, tells us that Jesus wasn't in the boat because he was up on the mountaintop praying. He was up on the mountaintop praying. He was praying while they're in the midst of the storm. The Bible tells us in no uncertain terms that he is our intercessor. He's interceding on our behalf to the Father. So when the disciples were in the midst of the storm, he's on the mountaintop interceding for them. He's praying to the Father. And that's what he does for us. We're going through our storms of life. We're going through all the struggles and the trials that we're enduring. And he's praying to the Father while we're in the midst of the storm. You see, the church, and we talked about this briefly in Sunday school this morning. When I say church here, I'm talking about the whole church, no denomination. I'm talking about the church universal. I'm talking about those that have accepted Christ, those that are Christians. So when I say church, understand that. But the church is like a ship out on the sea. It's tossed about with storms. Oftentimes the church is not comforted. Christians are not comforted. Sometimes we have these struggles and we strive. We have the wind against us. We have the tide against us. But I think it's a comfort, or at least it is to me, it's a comfort to know that the master of the sea is on the mountaintop interceding for me when I'm going through this problem. You know, I appreciate every prayer that you offer up for me when I'm in trouble and when I'm not. Because I know some of you do, even though there doesn't seem to be a problem in my life. I appreciate every one, and I don't want you to stop. And I got to be honest with you. As much as I enjoy and appreciate and love your prayers, I'm even more grateful that he's the one praying for me on behalf of him to the Father. He still hasn't changed. He still hasn't changed. He prays for his disciples. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to do the same thing that the disciples did. We rowed. We rowed. They rowed much of the night. Again, Mark says that they toiled to row. They struggled, in other words. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't glamorous. But I think it served us as an example of the hardships that they would face after they were sent out into the world to preach the gospel. Again, he was preparing them for what was ahead of them. Much of our life is spent rowing. We wake up, we get ready for work, we get kids ready for school, we go to work, we come home, fix supper, we pay bills, we go to bed, and we do it all over again the next day. Over and over and over. And after a while it becomes a struggle and we toil at it. Many of us have already left that realm and section in our life. Some of you have not. But I remember that it gets to the place where, again, do I really have to? I don't get that. So we do it again and again and again, and we toil at it. Life sometimes has more pain than it does gain. You know, we see that cliche, you know, no pain, no gain. You know, sometimes life has more pain than it does gain in it, it seems like. It's like, when does it equal out here? When do I get the gain part? It has more pain than it does gain. Marriage isn't like a date anymore. The job isn't like the advertisement was describing it. And having kids isn't like babysitting. You don't get remember somebody telling me several years ago that talking about kids, and they said, "Man, I'll be so glad next week my kid will be 18 years old." I said, "What's so happy about it?" "Well, I'll be rid of them. They're 18." I laughed. I said, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "The only thing that happens at 18 is the problems get more serious and more expensive. You're never rid of them. Forget it." So having kids is not like babysitting, is it, Tam? And just like the disciples, we start out on a voyage and the weather is fair and everything seems good. And it's not long before we run up with storms before we arrive at the port that we're sailing to. Been there, O.B.? Been there? Been there? It would be nice to know that when you leave port and the weather's fair, that it's going to be that way the whole time you're out until you get back. Storm's going to wait until you're back home, right? We don't have to deal with it. We don't get to pick and choose. So we set out on this life journey with fair weather and everything's going good. God has saved me. I'm on top of the world. He's gotten rid of all the garbage in my life. I'm on my way to heaven, and I can sing joy to the world. Then all of a sudden, before we know it, bam, storms of life is hit. But through all the storms that we have in our life, we learn that at the right time, God comes. The right time, He comes. Just stay good, Samson. God came that night also. He came walking on the water. The sea was tossed with waves, and yet Christ came walking on it. Let me share with you this morning and reaffirm to you that nothing can stop Christ from appearing on behalf of His people. He will either find a way or He will force a way through the most raging storm for His people. And at the right time and in the right way, He will appear. So don't give up. Keep rolling. Don't bail out. He's too loving to ever hurt you, and He's too caring to ever forget you. And when you can't see Him, trust Him. He's praying the prayer. He may just be in a prayer that He Himself will answer.